Hey, how's it going, everybody? This little video is going to showcase some troubleshooting and repair on a 2000 T-40c joystick. Hope it helps. I have never been able to find any good videos on any of this, and through trial and error in many years, I have figured out a lot about how these things work. So here's a video, and hopefully it can help you. Yeah, I knew this was coming. I was having some funny troubles with my bucket controls before the engine broke down, and I finally got the truck back, and it cost about $14,000, and the joystick kind of screwed up more and more. It only took about a couple days. So now we're going to tear it open and see what we can find. Now we'll just run some simple continuity tests. We have a main power, which is always going to supply power to the joystick, and when you move it accordingly, it clicks on little micro switches and passes power. So I've got it on the number 10 wire, which is the down function. And then we'll just push our joystick in, and we got nothing. There it is. So now it's working. But it is intermittent and cutting out, so we need to tear into it and see what's going on in there. Got a couple of small Allens in this. You just pop those loose, pull that off. And then we have this little set screw, which is a really 1/1/16 Allen head. Loosen that up, and then we're gonna take that nut off, and then we're gonna back this spring out, which is threaded in. And after that, we can pull the guts out the bottom and get access to all our micro switches. I had forgotten that that spring actually reverse threads. Here's the internals. Nothing's really popping out. Everything, whenever you move this, it'll click on a switch. You can hear the clicks. They're all clicking good. I did get some funny readings at first. Now what I'm doing is, you see it's pretty corroded here and there. There's nothing really horrible at the connections though, so I don't know. Those are mounting bolts that look really bad, and those shouldn't matter. Well, I didn't notice earlier, but I found my problem. 32 is a main power wire, and it must have just been barely hanging on there. All right, so what I ended up doing was I took all these micro switches out. I wish I had new ones to replace them, but I don't. I cleaned all the connections up. Tedious and time consuming. And towards the end, I found a break in my main power wire, which I don't know how I missed that when I was first looking, but I did. And so we've got that spliced in and with some heat shrink fittings. And I've taped off a couple other spots that showed a little wear, just to make sure they are good to go. And I will rebuild this joystick when I get new switches here in the next month or two. We'll probably redo all the wires. One more important thing I'd like to point out, so you don't put it all back together and then realize it doesn't work. Oh, it's hard. See how the edge of that sticks up a little bit? Right there. It has a slit here, so you can rotate it up and down a little. You gotta have those bottom ones pushed up just a little bit, because once you put it all back together, it has less movement. So right now, when you look at it, it seems like everything works and everything clicks, but once you put it in its case, it has less movement. So you'll want to make sure those are like that, or you will put it all back together and it will not work. Another thing I will add, if you do not get that spring threaded down far enough, which is a pain, you got to clean it up really good, and especially if it's been sitting a while. But if you don't get it down all the way, what's going to happen is when you put it back together, every time you hit your joystick button, you're going to be going up. So you don't want it to be automatically going up every. Works like a charm again. But I still need to do micro switches before too long. They're like 4 years old, so I would recommend get the right micro switches. You can find them for 10, 12 bucks and kind of modify them and make them work. But you're going to be in and out of this a lot because they're not going to last. The good ones are overpriced for sure, like 160 something bucks. But like I said, these ones are 4 years old and they are still working, but I think they're getting towards the end of their life. So we will rebuild this joystick before too long.